It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host.
Good to have you on the show. This is your host, Mobola Stephen, on Live Olive for Mobola Stephen. It's the self-improvement and personal development podcast, occasioning expert professionals and thought leaders who are hard depth in the topics of personal development and self-improvement. We share disruptive yet constructive mindset conversations and topics and subjects related to this. We've come to realize the importance of embracing personal development and self-improvement. Though it's a lifelong process, but it's something we must try to embrace in order for us to move from where we are to where we need to be. On today's show, we'll be talking more about business and also moving tending towards AI. And I have Philip Blackett, who is an author, consultant, and entrepreneur on the show with me today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here with you.
Happy to have you on the show, Philip Blackett. The first question I would like to ask is why should entrepreneurs and small business owners embrace AI to grow their business further? We all know that AI has the good side and it also has the not so good side.
Yeah, so I think the big thing about AI is that this is a new technology, just like every other pressing new technology we've had before, whether it's social media, the personal computer, the smartphone, the automobile, a number of different technologies that, yeah, it's new and it's something that we may be hesitant to adopt because we're not so sure if it's going to last. It's oftentimes something that we fear because we don't fully understand it yet. However, I would believe that artificial intelligence is here to stay. And I think the sooner that we can adopt a proactive and growth mindset, especially as entrepreneurs and business owners, to understand what AI is and to see how we can adopt it into our current way of doing business and then master it going forward, the better we'll be. Because if nothing else, I'm pretty sure your competition is already working on that as we speak.
Absolutely. Now let's look at the typical 9 to 5 jobs. You're also familiar with that. For those who work within this time frame, what do you suggest they do to further prove their jobs and careers? Do you think AI will be the respite?
Yeah, so it's something similar, I would say, too, for working professionals, because, if businesses and business owners are adopting AI, then they're likely going to pass that over to their teams and their employees as far as something they want to adopt and want everyone to start implementing in their current day-to-day jobs. And so it's really helpful for employees and working professionals to also take on a similar stance of saying, hey, AI is an opportunity and a tool that can serve me and not necessarily a threat unless I ignore it. And so the big thing is really understanding, hey, here's an opportunity for me to learn about AI, see how I can apply it in what I do on a day-to-day basis on the certain tasks and jobs that I'm responsible of doing, and then see it as a way to grow with it as a part of your continued professional and career development, and at the same time being able to share that with other people on your team, and hopefully build yourself up as a thought leader, as a linchpin, as somebody that's helping the team grow forward in its adoption and mastery of artificial intelligence that moves the team forward, moves the organization forward. And I would say if you're delivering that type of value consistently, that's a great way to future proof your job and career.
Now, talking about learning AI, it sounds as if it's an automatic thing. So how do you think they can begin to learn AI?
Say that again.
You said they begin to learn AI, and to me, it sounds a bit like automatic. Is it automatic, or how can they begin to learn AI?
So how would they begin to? I think it's really about, starting to see what's out there, reading the news articles that's talking about artificial intelligence, seeing what's already done within your organization, if anything, taking a step forward outside of your company and proactively seeing what other sources are out there, maybe what books you can start reading, what podcasts you can listen to, what videos you can watch on the internet, and what's shared on social media. Just start to open yourself up to what artificial intelligence is, start to see what type of tools are out there, and start to think to yourself, hey, like, these are the duties and tasks I do day to day. What are some of the tasks and duties that I absolutely have to do myself? I can't delegate it to somebody else or to AI, but then also look for those tasks and jobs that you say, hey, if I can get 80% as well on this job or task being completed or better and have AI do it, then let's see what that will look like. Let's see what tools are out there, how I can experiment and test it and see what works, and just adopt that mindset of just saying, hey, I'm my own team, so to speak, where it's like me and AI tools can help me get the job done either more effectively, more cost effective, more productively, and for your organization, your team, more profitably.
Thank you, Philip, for sharing that with my audience. You are an entrepreneur, so you will get to understand that the question I'm going to ask you now. So, is there anything like achieving a dream business code for entrepreneurs and small business owners? Do you have any helpful tips?
So when I think about dream business makeovers, that's one of the things I work on with entrepreneurs and small business owners. Ideally, it's trying to see where you're currently at, where you're trying to grow into, and how we can grow your sales, your profits, and your exit value. And so we do that through what I call dream business makeovers that target all three of those areas, in addition to growing via mergers and acquisitions, if applicable. And we absolutely include AI into executing on this. So we're definitely in a place where we're helping small business owners, entrepreneurs better understand AI, how it can be useful for them, and use it as a tool to help them achieve their dreams for what they have for their business going forward.
Oh, right. Really, COVID-19, we've come to realize that it changed some businesses for the future as long as they were able to embrace that. I hope you can identify with that. But in your own case, you shut your multi-million dollar business after the ups and downs of COVID-19. What led to this, and what are the lessons that you learned so far that you think is beneficial to the audience and to the entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, so like you said before, COVID-19 was something that a lot of small business owners did not anticipate. And unfortunately, a lot of small business owners went through some really tough times that led to them exiting their businesses or closing them down. And unfortunately, I was one of them, let alone it was a number of years after the pandemic started, but going through the ups and downs of that can be pretty vicious, for lack of a better word. And I think that, when it came to customer base, we lost one particular customer that really put us in a tough spot to sustain ourselves. And I had to make a tough decision and basically say, hey, I need to essentially transition this business the best way possible to preserve the employees that have been working with me, the customers that have been working with me, and to do that the best possible way, which is an exercise in itself when it comes to leadership, I would imagine, but definitely not an easy one. And so I think one of the biggest lessons learned there is that sometimes, when the settings change, when the times change, you have to adapt. You have to be resilient and flexible, but also understand you want to make sure you give your best foot forward, leave no stone unturned, and understand that there's a possibility that it can absolutely work out and we make it through. And there's an opportunity that maybe it doesn't. But at least if you do your best to do right by your team, by your customers, by those who support you, and you put your best foot forward out there, then at least you start to have a better or more at ease conscience about learning the lessons from that experience and being able to move on from there.
Now, by this, do you mean to say that businesses should always anticipate for the worst?
I think that it's wise for any business owner or any executive to say, hey, we have to have a balanced outlook as far as what the market looks like for us, and understanding that at any given time the economy can change and there could be certain things we weren't anticipating that can shock our customers, our team members, our vendors, and we always have to be willing to adapt and flex when the time is needed.
And so, what are the strategies you think they can begin to employ?
So I think one is just having that type of mindset where it's just, a smooth waters don't produce a great sailor in the sense that, those that are good at, sailing ships, you have to be able to adapt to different conditions in the water. And so I think one is just making sure you have the right mindset that, what you started out this business in, as far as environment, may likely change in a relatively short period of time in a way you might not expect it. And you have to really have your goals at the forefront of what we're trying to achieve, that when things change, inevitably they will, you provide the necessary course correction towards still reaching your goal. I mean, it's very similar to thinking about if we are launching a space shuttle from Earth to the moon, right? It's a very crucial objective to make sure the shuttle does not miss the moon, because the people on the shuttle may not be able to get back home. At the same time, you also understand that once you launch that space shuttle, that at any given time, your direction will change, it will waver. It's never just a straight shot. And that's just a good parallel as far as how business and life is. It's never just a straight shot. There's detours, there's variations and that sort of thing too. But in the meantime, when that happens, you course correct to get yourself back on track. And so I think in this situation here, when it comes to business and, going through unanticipated changes in the economic cycle and in the environment, that you make sure that you're on top of being able to course correct.
Oh, absolutely. I would like us to move a bit towards your personal life, if you don't mind. Really, you've had to deal with foreclosure, earthquake, and unemployment at one point in your life without having to throw in the towel on your life and committing suicide. I know this is typical to most of us in this side of eternity. Are you really kidding me? And how do you do that?
So I can only speak from my own personal experience going through that tough moment in life. But I think it's one where you have to really be careful to who you listen to, both externally and internally. I think that, your thoughts is a playground that good and bad thoughts can play in, right? And so I think, especially when you're going through a tough time where things are not going the way you were hoping to, and things can feel hurtful, depressing, um, borderline like I can't take this anymore. Um, it's helpful to have something or someone to lean on to help you, because oftentimes, in my experience, we're not self-sufficient to the point that we can handle such a crisis in isolation. So I think for me, knowing my personality, I'm not an extrovert necessarily that would just gladly and gratuitously share what's going on in my business and my life with everyone. However, I think at the same time, what was helpful for me was my own faith. And so, building a personal relationship with God during this period and being able to come to him on a daily basis when I didn't understand, when I lacked motivation or inspiration to keep going, or just didn't see visibility on what this can look like, if I just kept going. Being able to have that lifeline for me was a game changer. It was absolutely necessary, very helpful for me. And so I think that for each person, it's important to find out who you can lean on, what you can lean on in particular. That could be faith or something else. But, my thought is, if you live long enough, you're likely going to be experiencing good and bad times. The good times are easy to go through, bad times not so much, but they're at least more bearable if you have someone that you can work with, that can support you, and that can give you the reason to try again the next day.
All right. When you were going through this challenging period, did you ever consider a mind shift?
Did I ever consider a mind shift?
That's right.
Yeah, of course. A mind shift from giving up and quitting, to one that say, hey, let me just try this again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Let's just take things one step at a time. Let's not think about next year. Let's not think about next month or even next week. Let's just focus on what's in front of us. Focus on doing the best we can with that, and having faith that God will help me and he will provide for the next day.
And how has it helped you thus far? Having faith and also having a mind shift. How has it helped you thus far?
I mean, I'm still here. I'm still talking to you because otherwise, it might have been a different outcome. But, I think what's also helpful there is being able to use that as a reference point. If you survive some of your toughest times and you recognize what got you through it, then you recognize, at least for me, that my faith is still here. And so it's basically sharing with me that God is faithful from the past and believing that he'll be faithful today and going forward. And so having that reference point, especially when you need to tap into it, can really be helpful for people.
Thank you so much, Philip Blackett, for sharing your thoughts with my audience. Philip, my audience will like to learn of any important information or any exciting news in the pipeline, your project, that you think is going to be beneficial to them. This is just the right time for you to do that.
Sure, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity. So one thing that I want to share with your audience to see if it might be of interest to them is I recently authored and published a book called Disagree Without Disrespect: How to Respectfully Debate with Those Who Think, Believe, and Vote Differently from You. And it's available on Amazon. You can look it up via its title or just my name, Philip Blackett, PhilipBlackett. What the book is basically about is essentially helping share a simple 5-step framework that anybody can improve the quality of their relationships with people that they have natural disagreements on, whether it's on how they think, how they believe, or how they vote, regardless of that. And so being able to share that so we can have more of a society that focuses more on building relationships and trying to prove who's right and who's wrong, I think it'd be helpful for a number of people. And so I definitely encourage someone, if that's the case where that might be of interest, head on over to Amazon, look up the book or look up myself and see if it might be a good fit for you.
Right. Any parting word you'd like to share with the audience? And we also like to have your social media handles on your website to learn more about you and about your project.
So as far as like a parting word, I think the biggest thing is we talked about a number of topics here. And so my biggest call to action to people listening in is more so thinking about what's that one takeaway, that one lesson that we talked about that you can apply in your life today. And so don't just put this podcast as a completed episode and move on with your life, not applying anything. Find one thing, one lesson, one takeaway you can apply today and build on that to improve your life.
Right. Thanks for the inspiration and motivation. Like to share your social media handles, your website.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, as far as the website?
Yes, and the social media handle.
Sure. So if people wanted to connect with me more on the website, they can go to philipblackett.com.
Right. Thank you so much, Philip Blackett. You're an author, consultant, and entrepreneur. Thanks for sharing your insight with my audience, especially talking about the future of work, talking about AI, and also addressing salient important information, helpful tips and strategies that can help small business owners and entrepreneurs to future-proof their businesses in the near future. Thank you once again for your time and for your valuable contribution to the topic of discussion. We sincerely wish you best of luck in all of the projects that you embark on. Philip?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we sincerely appreciate you also, Philip. Now, if you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of the show, you can do so on any cross-promotion platforms or any podcast distribution platforms you bump into online, and do have an amazing time as we listen to disruptive yet constructive mindship conversations on topics or subjects under personal development and self-improvement, which is literally going to transform your life, moving you from where you are to where you need to be. Remember that for you to begin to experience change in life, you must be willing and ready to embrace the changes that life brings along. Till I come your way, I need you to always to stay safe. I can't do so. Thank you so much, Philip.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.